On a recent video, I mentioned the fact that I publish my books wide as opposed to having them exclusive to Amazon. And there was a comment asking to do a video specifically about how I publish wide. So that is what today's video is going to be. So to start with, I think it's important to clarify the difference between being wide and being exclusive to Amazon. So in the indie author space, many authors talk about being in Amazon exclusively and publishing their books in Kindle Unlimited. So the only way to get your books into Kindle Unlimited is if they're exclusive to Amazon. Now, there is an alternative to that, which is publishing wide, which means having your ebooks available as many different places as possible. Some people also do like Amazon exclusive, but they go wide with their paperbacks or with their audiobooks. There are different ways to do it. For me, my choice has been to be as wide as possible in all the different realms. So I'm going to talk today about ebooks, about paperbacks, and also about audiobooks, and share how I manage each of those things. So first, let's talk about ebooks. These do tend to make up the biggest chunk of my book sales these days, which surprised me since at the beginning it was a lot more physical books. There are 5 main big places that people buy ebooks. So those are Amazon, Apple, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play. So for each of those, in general, I go direct to that particular place. So for Amazon, I publish my ebooks directly through KDP. For Google Play, I publish directly through the Google Play dashboard. I do the same for Kobo. I also get my books into Overdrive, which is a library app that Libby is linked to. I get that through Kobo as well. Kobo also has their own subscription called Kobo Plus, which is like a Kindle Unlimited alternative. It doesn't require any kind of exclusivity. For Barnes & Noble, I go direct through them as well. So that just leaves Apple, and I have heard that there is no difference in terms of your access to different promotions, whether you go direct through Apple or go through a distributor. So Apple I do get to through Draft Digital, and that is a decision that I made after reading a number of posts in a Facebook group, one of my favorite resources, which I will mention. It is called Wide for the Win, and they share a lot of resources there about how to get your books out in the world in a wide way, and marketing and all sorts of different advice. So it's a great group. They also have a circle community as well if you are not a Facebook user. So I do use Draft Digital to get my books into Apple, as well as a few other places such as Everand, which used to be called Scribd, and other library apps like Hoopla. They have acquired Smashwords now, so you can get your books into Smashwords that way. A few other places as well. So in general, if you don't want to manage going direct to all the different places, you could use something like Draft Digital in order just to publish it in one place and have your book go everywhere. I choose to go direct to most places simply to maximize my earnings so that I'm not paying that extra percentage to Draft Digital with each book sale. In my experience, each of these different websites are pretty user-friendly, especially after you've done it a couple of times. So if you are preparing to do your very first distribution of a wide book, it can be a little bit daunting. You should set aside some time to figure out how each platform works, and certainly use a resource like Wide for the Win or some of the books that are available. There's a book called Wide for the Win. There's also Monica Lionel's series called Get Your Book Selling Wide, which has different subsequent books for get your book selling on Amazon, get your book selling on Apple, all the different things. So these are helpful resources if you're looking for something to support you in that. But I feel like once I've done it a couple of times, I know how each place works, and it's a pretty comfortable thing. So a few things to be aware of there. There are extra promotions that you can apply for on the website itself. So Kobo has that. You can go in and look at promotions and see if you are eligible to apply for them. It's very easy to apply directly on the website. Similarly, since I go to Overdrive through them, you can also get on an email list of theirs to let you know about Overdrive promotions, although I believe now those might actually be directly in the promotions tab, so never mind, no need to worry about getting on an email list. Just check that promotions tab regularly to see if there's something available for your genre. Similarly, in Barnes & Noble Press, there are promotions there. You can set up your own. There's also a promotions tab that you can ask to be a part of. This was sort of hit or miss for me at the beginning. I kind of just regularly said sent an email to ask if I could have that promotions tab added and was rejected a few times. And then one day I went in and saw that suddenly I had access to the promotions tab. That was just after I got my first BookBub featured deal. So it might be because there were a number of units sold during that time. And so they were like, oh, this author might actually be worth having in our, I don't know if it was that or it was just that one of my emails finally was answered. That's a great thing to have access to. So once you get that, then you can check it regularly and see if there are any monthly promotions or special promotions that are worth applying for. Also, for anything that you get to through Draft Digital, they will email you. You can get access to being on an email list where they will let you know if there are promotions you can apply for on a place like Apple, or if you go to Barnes & Noble through them, they can let you know about those sorts of things as well. I haven't had much success with applying for Apple promotions, not at this point, but it's nice to have. I like to apply for any opportunity I can be a part of and see which ones stick. So that is my process for getting my books out wide in ebook in as many places as I can have them. I have also in the past used StreetLib to get to a few extra places. I'm probably going to cancel that because it hasn't really done anything for me. And I did see some news going around recently about being charged for free downloads of your book through StreetLib. So if that is the case, then I definitely don't want to be paying to give away books for free. So I might look into some other alternatives. I had applied in the past for Radish and never went around uploading my books, even though they accepted me. There's also Eden Books for romance. So these are things that I'd like to look into as well, just to, again, be as wide as possible. So part of my motivation for this is that I really love having my books not just available in as many different countries, as many different apps, many different phones as people might have. Like they might have an app on their Android phone, like for Google Play Books, or they might have an app on their iPhone to read Apple Books. But also, I love having my books in libraries, and that is one of the most exciting reports for me that I get regularly from Draft Digital saying how many sales or checkouts I made on Hoopla. That was one particular site where there was a long wait period at the beginning when I first published Pride, Prejudice, and Turkish Delight. It was just waiting, like publishing to Hoopla for a very, very, very long time. And then finally it went through, and all the rest have been much quicker than that. And I love seeing those come through because sometimes a book just sort of takes off in their algorithm for whatever reason. And then I see, a bunch of people checked out one of my books that last month. And I love that. I love knowing that people are using libraries and free resources available to them to read my books. Now, the next thing is about paperbacks. So I do my paperbacks through Ingram Spark. I do all of them through Ingram Spark. So a lot of people I know take their paperbacks and they go directly through KDP and they publish them that way, or through Barnes & Noble Press, or even through Draft Digital. I only put them on Ingram Spark. Like I know you can go to KDP and Ingram Spark. I only go to Ingram Spark and have them distribute to every other place. And I will tell you why I do that. It is because of the paper that I have the option to use. So there's this groundwood paper, and I know this is probably going to sound like just so specific, but it has the same sort of texture and feel and look as a typical trade book. So here is How to End a Love Story, which is top of my TBR because of this author, Yulin Kwang's connection to getting Emily Henry's books turned into movies. I'm like, that's amazing. So it's the same sort of lightness. So here's the thing with this groundwood paper. It is both lighter weight and also thicker. So if I compare, for example, I have the final version of Intoxicated by You, and I also have a version that I used that I had printed at Barnes & Noble Press just for my own editing purposes. This one is both skinnier and also heavier. And this is something I noticed one time. All of the books that are on my shelf have been carried across an ocean by me, either in a backpack or in a suitcase. And there was one time in particular when I had a number of self-published books from Amazon that I stuck in one part of that backpack. And it was just a stack of books like about this big. It was quite heavy. So I know that's not a concern that everybody has. For me, though, it was something like I just want them to be the same. I want no matter if someone buys my book from Amazon or from Barnes & Noble or from an indie bookstore, I want them to be able to get the same book. And I don't want to have to deal with multiple versions of getting different covers made because the spines are different widths because I'm using groundwood paper at Ingram Spark, but I don't have access to it through a different printer. So that is just how I do things. I like having it all in one place. I know some people have had problems with Ingram Spark in the past. I mean, people have had problems with every different option that you can possibly have. So that's something to consider. Also, people do tend to be more vocal about something when they have a problem with it than when it's going well for them. So I just want to put myself out there saying I'm happy with the printing jobs that I've had done with the books from Ingram Spark, and I love that one place that I upload them takes care of pushing them out everywhere else. So that's what I do with paperbacks. I also have a hardcover of my very first book. They have that as well. It's got a nice little slipcover. That's not the right word. It has a nice jacket, and I'm really happy with that. Now, I did for my very first book also distribute the ebook through Ingram Spark. I know now that is not recommended because of the extra fees that they take out. I haven't moved it because it's there, it's already living there. I think the software I used for that ebook file doesn't exist anymore, so I think it would be too much of a headache to go repurpose the whole thing, so I'm just leaving it there for that one particular book, and that's fine with me. And finally, we have audiobooks. I only have one at this point. I recorded my own audiobook for my first book, Living Across Borders. I was comfortable doing that because it is a nonfiction / self-help book, so I did it myself because that was the done thing. I will not record my own fiction audiobooks simply because I am not a voice actor and do not have the ability to do different voices for different characters. It's just not a thing that's going to happen. Still though, with that one audiobook that I have, I wanted that to be wide as well. So what I did to distribute that was go to ACX, which gets you to Audible, and also Apple, I believe, and then also Findaway Voices, which kind of goes everywhere else. I believe Findaway Voices is now linked with Spotify. Anyway, I don't pay too much attention to that. This is a book that I don't actively market. It's something that just sort of does its own thing out in the world. There's not a lot of competition in that category of intercultural relationship guide self-help book, so that does its own sales just simply by people looking for help in that area. So I like getting those reports every month saying like, oh, this is how much came in from Findaway Voices or from ACX. That's really lovely. So in the future, when I have audiobooks for my fiction, I will be distributing those wide as well. That is my plan, and I'm sure there are ways I'm not even aware of yet to make them even wider. Certainly for all of these things, for ebooks, for paperbacks, or hardcovers, and for audiobooks, there's also the option to distribute direct from your own website. I have done that in the past, only for ebooks. I didn't set it up yet for paperbacks. I had a Shopify store and had that set up there. I might revisit it in the future. I might try out WooCommerce since I have a WordPress website now. But for right now, I'm just focusing on these specific areas that I am. And my advice, if you are just starting out and you want to go wide, is that you don't have to do everything all at once, right? And certainly if you are taking a vast catalog from something like KU and you're trying to put it wide, you don't have to do it all in one day. If you've decided that going wide is the move for you, then be patient with yourself, accept that there's going to be a learning curve, take your time, ask questions. Certainly this video will be here as a resource if you have any questions, if you want my input on anything. I'm certainly not an expert, but I do have a bit of experience with 12 books now that are all published wide, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Happy writing and happy publishing.